So today we're going to have a really great lesson on the channel, a little bit about the heart. A really interesting lesson about how everyone has different hearts. But as human beings, it's not possible for us to fully accommodate everyone's hearts. And how we should understand what to do and how to react, and especially, like we always learn on this channel, how should I conduct myself? And what should I do with my heart? So for today, I have a few scriptures for us. So let's go see what does the Bible say about these things. First scripture from Matthew 5, verse 8. So Matthew 5, verse 8 says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." And then the second scripture for today, 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things man looks at. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." And then third scripture for today, 2 Corinthians 11, verse 3. "But I am afraid that just as Eve was deceived by the serpent's cunning, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere and pure devotion to Christ." A fourth scripture for today, Jeremiah 17, verse 9. It says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it?" So these are the scriptures for today that we're going to be looking about. And like I said, a nice message about the heart. So for me, I was thinking about all the different kind of attitudes and hearts that people have towards me. And as I was thinking about all these things, it really made me wonder, wow, if I were to try to accommodate all of these different people's hearts, the different attitudes they have towards me, it would be so endless, and it's not possible for me to actually accommodate all of them. And people, whenever we communicate with people, I'm not sure in your circumstances, but for me, sometimes people come with very weird, abnormal thoughts and abnormal thinking, and then they ask me to accommodate them in their mentality or in their style of thinking. And this is just really impossible because people have hundreds of different types of hearts. So what should we have? Well, I made a little list of some of the hearts that I could think of. And you can tell me in the comments below, tell me if this is the kind of hearts that people have treated you with as well. Some people, their hearts are rash and really impatient. Some have hate, some envy, some get jealous, and they keep finding fault. People are sometimes greedy in various ways. Some people, they live seeking only to benefit themselves. Some have anger and really sharp rage. Some are really stubborn. Some easily they betray me and then disbelieve the things I say. Some are really lazy and then they quit just because they don't want to do things. Some, they're really picky, so they're so hard to please. Some of them, they change so easily and constantly all the time. Some, they're really sneaky hearts, so they bring harm by deceiving and tempting. Some, they just want to achieve some goal of some false conspiracy that they've heard or know of. Some are really sly foxes who are really good at telling lies. Some are always gossiping, causing division and strife. And some have hearts that are just so opportunistic, trying to grab every opportunity to benefit themselves. So in this way, you have all these kinds of hearts. This is just some examples of kind of bad hearts, but also, on the other hand, some people have really good hearts. They're so joyful and thankful all the time. Some are kind and they're active and they're really glad and they're hardworking people. Some are really generous. Some are understanding. They have mercy. They love. Some rejoice while they have to make sacrifices for people. So we have all these hundreds of different types of hearts. And when we consider human beings, the one thing that we have control over, or that we have a mission responsibility to do, is to make our hearts wow. We have to work on our heart. Only when our hearts are really made well, then do our bodies do well, then do our soul do well, our spirit do well, then do we change, then do we become new beings. If our heart is, we can almost say, a heart of death, then those kind of bad hearts, it just keeps rotting and away until it's made perfect, until it's made and changed. Something that is really precious in this world is a good and kind heart. So for us, all of our hearts, it shines, whether through our eyes, whether through our actions, whether through our daily lives. Our hearts are always shining. And the light of our heart, that is something that should be bright. It should be as bright as the sun. It should be like the full moon shining on a dark night. If we live our life only centering on our own heart and our own perspective, we'll never be able to come out of that pit that we are in. If our hearts are bad, then we don't prosper. You don't prosper. Sometimes it seems like people with bad hearts prosper, but they really don't. We just keep tilting towards death, and so ultimately we become people with a stubborn heart, a really evil heart. If we want to achieve a heaven on the earth, which we all want, everyone wants heaven to be here on the earth, the first thing that needs to happen is we must have heaven in our hearts. Only then, because our hearts are heaven, everywhere we go, our life also becomes heaven. Even if our environment maybe is a tent, maybe we're living out in some desert, even if we're in prison, if our hearts are heaven, our life will be heaven. Right? This is how you can see many times when you look at people who live really righteous, devout lives, even though they're in the most unfortunate circumstances, their lives were heaven to them because of their hearts. As long as our hearts are rotten and corrupt, then it won't be heaven. Right? As long as we're always centering on ourselves, it will never be heaven for us. So we got to think. We all live for some purpose, right? And what purpose are we going to live for? Because ultimately we're going to give our heart and will and life for some purpose. So what's it going to be? And for us, as believers, people who believe that there's much more to life than just this short little 100 years, we must give our heart, will, and life for things that are eternal. Things that are gonna last. Things that will last for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years. Let me share a little bit more about a really, really amazing parable too that I'll share later. As we live our life, we're all experiencing things, and whether it's really big things, whether it's really small things, and as we have these experiences, it affects us. It affects our bodies, it affects our hearts, it affects us either in a positive way or in a negative way. Now, every one of those experiences teaches us something, right? So it impacts us either in a positive or negative way, and we should learn from that. Because if it is something that I should do, then regardless of whether I have the means and the resources and the environment and the encouragement and all these things, I should make sure that I do it. And then if it's something that I absolutely should not be doing, then even if the environment keeps repeating and recurring in a way that prompts me to do it, I absolutely should not do it. And this is something that I decided in my heart. Discerning is wisdom. To be able to discern, this is wisdom. Because it's always a choice. There's always a choice between two things. What should I do? What should I not do? This is always our choice. So having discernment, that is wisdom. If we are people that think something will be beneficial to us, if we only consider one aspect of it, then we're a fool. And we're a fool if we think only of one thing and think, wow, this thing is beneficial to me. Because then we don't know that this action can cause a problem later on. We should always think about multiple facets of every decision that we make. If we don't give up the evil that is in our heart, then without even knowing it, soon we'll be following a wicked path. We'll forsake all of the good things that we have and we'll follow evil. Think about it. What is a deceiver, right? Someone that deceives. It is someone who on the outside they're really good, but inside they're not good. Inside their hearts are bad. Their hearts are evil. So even though, we're all good people, right? Even though we think that all people are good, when we really get to know people, we'll clearly recognize that some people are good and some people just are not good. It's about the heart. It's not about the body. We cannot consider only looking at the outward appearance, but we must look at the heart. I'll share this final parable, which I found so inspiring and so moving. And for myself, I could say the determination, it's like this. We have two items. We have gold and we have scrap metal. Now both of them are metals, right? But what's the difference? It's how they shine. Gold is a metal that shines on its own. Like gold will shine wherever, on its own it will shine. But scrap metal is something that shines only when it's polished. Now, what does this mean, Michael? Like, how does this refer to me? Our hearts can be either scrap metal or it can be gold. Right? Are our hearts that shine only when we're polished? Like only when people treat us well and people want to do things for us and people comfort us and people encourage us? Is it only when I receive these kind of polishing actions that I shine? Or am I gold that shines regardless? I shine regardless if I'm being polished, regardless if I'm put in a nice little environment. Even if I'm just there, I shine. And this is the kind of people that we ought to be. We need to be people who have hearts of gold, which means what? It means we shine. Whether we're treated well, whether our environment is good, whether we're polished by those around us, we must always shine. If you agree with me, then please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what's your thoughts. Other than that, if you want to learn more, if you want to understand the Bible, if you want to look deeper into scripture, then feel free to subscribe to this channel. And also put on that notification bell. And let's see each other next time. See you again. Bye.